All right. Well, I know it's been a while, guys. I haven't abandoned the channel. I've just been prepping for Worlds. A lot of things going on in personal life. So, if you're watching this video, first round of Worlds have started, and I'm going to tell you why I took this deck. I think it's one of the best decks in the format. So, I chose Arifreda. That's what I'm going to take to Worlds. That's what I'm going to attempt to win with, because in my personal opinion, it's a deck where you fight a bad player, you're gonna win. You fight a good player, they can't really play around you. There's literally nothing they can do because the deck lets that good player do everything they want to do majority of the time. The advantage of this deck is that it continuously puts pressure on the opponent throughout the entire game. It can heal, it can burn, as early as level 1, it can start healing. And it gains an enormous amount of resources. It has incredibly good deck control after its level 1 turn is done. So we're going to go over the card choices, why they're in there, and then kind of break down how the deck works overall. Do forgive me, this is the first time I'm attempting to talk without a script. I'm just trying, I don't like scripts anymore. We're just going to keep it real. So, 4 copies of Drop Searcher. Well, it's a way of searching your cards, but this needs to be in memory for your level 1 combos, climax combo text to work. And when it gets reversed, it gets sent to memory. Just like a lot of other cards in the game. So not really, yes, you can attempt to play around it, but it's not really worth it a lot of times. Like the best thing, it'll go to memory like 99% of the time is what I'm trying to say. Your climax opera, the point is to slam the 2 soul every single turn. Keep the pressure on your opponent. Climax opera is costless. This one is costless, and you got to sack a character. So it ends up helping early on with that stock condition because you make so much hand back anyway. So you can use your stocks on finding your level 1 combos, finding the cards you need. So it's a pretty good climax swapper. This back row. Trigger climax if you run bar. You can ditch a climax, checked up 2. Just let you filter. Main purpose is you see there's a lot of 2s and 4s in this deck. And that is because this card grabs cards in pairs. This is what lets you play the game and have insanely good hand fix, right? Like, you can, if this is in your starting hand and this was in your starting hand too, you can ditch these 2 copies to get your starting hand a little bit better, only to get them back the next turn or the next 2 turns with this, grab 2 copies of it. So it's pretty strong in that aspect. The point, it's a cornerstone of the deck. It allows you to just set up plays. This is your on play and on death clock plus. On play it's a 3k attacker. It can pay 1 clock itself to grab any traded character. So this is not a level 1 or lower. This grabs any trade. You can grab 3s, 1s, whatever you want. You can even grab itself when it goes to William because it has the same effect on play and on death. This is on play on death effects like this are incredibly powerful. There's a reason why you don't see cards like this often. And that's what I think this set's strong point is, that its individual cards are extremely powerful. So yeah, it can beat cards over, and it would just keep your hand up. It allows you to be very aggressive early on. This is mainly here to grab climax from you, right? You don't even need a climax in your hand. If the name of the game is a slam jam your 2 soul, you play this. This card will get you it whenever you want. 4 copies your Brainstormer. Your Brainstormer is incredibly powerful. Not only is it just a normal tap spell Brainstorm, it gets a pay 2 heal. So in scenarios where you block a lot of damage at level 1, you can pay 2 heal. At level 2, you can pay 2 heal. And because you gain so much resource in deck, you can actually neg. Because the point of this deck is you want to always trade something off with your opponent. Like, oh, well, if you don't block this damage, I'm going to win anyway. So I'm just going to heal down in case you somehow don't die. But then if you block my damage and don't die or don't go up a whole level, I get my resources back. So everything I use to heal down, I get it back. And that's what this deck is all about, equivalent exchange. Like, it will... The things it can do is actually just crazy in my opinion. This is the, one of the original contenders for this Brainstorm. It's here just like it was in Chainsaw Man. Not for the combo, but the fact that you run through your deck. You get a lot of stock in this deck, and if you're not getting a lot of stock, you probably won the game already. So, runs through your deck, because your level 1 advantage engine is not guaranteed to move through your entire deck like other advantage engines in other sets, such as like ReZero's, Emilia, and stuff like that. So we play it mainly to just run through the deck. This is what makes everything come together. It looks like a generic profile, right? Like grabs level 0s or lower if you reveal a 0. So it's always going to grab a 0. If you reveal 1, 2, 3, you can grab whatever you want. But here's the thing. This card sacrifices a card to Climax Swap. This card sacrifices a card to grab a Climax from Waiting Room. We play this, and now we can grab this card, and then sacrifice itself. Get rid of it to then get our stuff off. It just synergizes so well with the deck. I've been bailed out so many times with this card. And if you notice, a lot of the key pieces of this deck are level 0s. So this just lets you grab everything that you want. Oh, you need to mill the deck out? I got a Brainstormer. You know, you need an extra attacker, get a little clock bust going. I can grab Hajime. So that lines up the 0s. It's the cornerstone deck. Now let's talk about the, I guess, the face of the deck. The level 1 combo. This is probably the only time I would ever say a cancel combo was good in Weiss. Because it is on a +2 soul, which, if people don't know, +2 soul is not a card you would normally play, because what ends up happening a lot of times, especially back in the old days of Weiss till now, the +2 soul type archetype, it does a lot of damage, but it generally runs out of steam. So you'll lose hand and stuff like that. So this level 1 combo literally says if my opponent doesn't take 3 to the face, you're getting 2 stock from the Waiting Room, and you're getting 1 card from the top of your 4 cards of your deck. But non-climax combo text is if opponent cancels, it can bounce back to hand. So if you don't have the combo, your drop switcher is not there, but you need an attacker, it can still work because it can still bounce back to your hand. You still get value. You still get 1 card, which is what most advantage engines just plus is just 1 card. So this card will just, because it bounces back, you're just continuously bombarding your opponent with this. And you want to always get advantages from it. So like, let's say your opponent has 1 card left in deck and they have a direct lane for 4. And then they have 2 lanes. A 4 wasn't really going to stick anyway, so you might as well attack with this card into the direct slot for 4. And if it sticks, cool. They're almost to the next level. They're halfway there. So this card is incredibly powerful. You just need to know where you want to get your advantage. Like, you have to think to yourself, like, especially when playing this deck, well, if they eat damage, I get this advantage. If they cancel damage, I get this advantage. And I'm not just talking about the combo text. I'm talking about setting up plays and stuff. Because if you know, you can stack cards into your stock. You're like legally stacking with this deck. Because you can set up plays for later on into the future if you can memorize your stock. You know, because this card grabs 2 cards of the same name. So like, you can literally set up your next plays in advance. Especially if you know if the opponent doesn't have like a stock swap or a stock shuffle. You know, where you shove the stock back in the deck, shuffle your deck, and then shove the same number back into stock. They don't mess with your stock. This card's really strong. We run this early play. 4 or more. One of the best early play conditions out there. If this card is in the Waiting Room, you can put it underneath it as a marker, and you can burn 1. I cannot tell you how much this is insane, right? So for example, decks like Bunny Senpai, or like for Slime example, right? They just spent all their stock playing triple Miron. If they block the damage, right? If they at least block 2 of these level 1 combos, it means you got 7 stock that turn. 4 extra cards in hand. So you can set up, you can stock 1 of these, stock 2 of these, you know, you can even grab them ahead of time before you play your 1 combo, and you can just mash burn 1s against them, right? There's going to be plays where you get 4 or more, you go burn 1. Play over it with another copy as well, burn 1. Go down to 0 stock, slam 3 of these down, and go like 2 cards in hand, and be like, well, you just ate 2 burn 1s, you're at 2-2. If you hit a 3, you're at 5 damage. You get another one, you're at 3-1. You're accelerating the game. You can even go the opposite way, reversing your damage by this. Same thing, you can pay 2, heal, step it over with itself, pay 2, heal. Step it over itself, pay 2, heal. And then play triple of these cards. So you continuously can heal, you can deal damage. You're never stuck. No matter what your opponent does, you're never stuck. Oh, they don't want you to get you to 3? Heal 1, heal 2, heal 3 times. Oh, they're a deck that needs time to ramp up. Burn, 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 burn. And then slam them with 2 soul. And the 2 soul, you don't always have to just crash into your opponent's cards. If they have level 1s, you can, if you have enough hand and you don't need this combo's hand ability, you can just side for 2, do normal damage. Now you're back playing like a normal 1k1 deck. And you're just going to just completely get so much advantage. You don't have to bounce it. You just get the extra stock, call it a day. Shoot, you can even check the top card of your deck and just get that if you need extra hand. This is your finisher. This is arguably the worst part of the deck. I would say that whatever you put Slime's finishers at, this is like possibly a step below it. It's on par if it doesn't trigger, but it's a restander, right? And it's very cheap, right? It calls out cards for free. So you can chain off itself, right? You're like special summoning or something, right? From Yu-Gi-Oh! You literally can just summon a bunch of these out for like no stock. So just to give you the math, 6 stock is 6 attacks. 4 stock is 5 attacks. And 2 stock is 4 attacks. That's the math behind it. But there's some cool plays you can do this. Because let's talk about this. This is our stock swap. And it doesn't cost stock. It's ditch 2 cards from your hand. So, and it can neg 2,000 to your entire front row, opponent's front row. So, with this type of play, you don't have to pay for this. You don't have to pay for 1. And this deck is really good at killing from 3-0. You know why? Because you can play 3 of these, and then summon 1 of these, and then burn 1. They go to 3-1, and there it is. 2 out of your 6 attacks need to hit for you to win the game. It's just that simple. And they can't pool stock on you because of this. So the only time where this might have a hard time dealing damage is if they go to level 2, then they go straight to level 3. Your opponent plays their finisher, they don't kill you, you go up to level 3, and now you try to attack them in a very small deck with climaxes because you don't have... This set has the archetype where you remove a climax and shuffle their waiting back in, but you have to play off-trade cards, so it's just not worth playing it in this deck. That's where this comes in. You can just step on them with a bunch of burn 1s, right? Play 1 of these, play this, burn 1, and just burn 1, burn 1, burn 1, burn 1, burn 1, and get a single restand. I'm sure after 2 to 3 to even 4 burn 1s, you should be fine. And like I said, if you don't have the resources, it means that they were just eating damage the entire game. And that goes over the summary of the cards in deck, why they're here. Let's talk about structure here. +2 soul and the treasure. So lots of damage coming at you. I think people underestimate what happens when a deck can just rush them down. This deck is extremely fast. And it is the only deck, I think, in the game, particularly. Maybe you can argue Nino with a standby turn. But it is the only deck in the game that's, I guess, competitively viable. That can just accelerate the deck state with the snap of their fingers. This card just lets you do so much. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, they just get the 2-0. They think they're safe. They think they have 2 more turns. And you just blast them with these early plays. You know, these early outs. You just burn 1, burn 1, burn 1, burn 1. And then just slam them with damage. Like, I know I'm just saying the same thing over, but I think people have to actually see this deck being played by a good player. It's like one of those weapons that have, like, the hidden passive, and it can only be unlocked by the right players, the right people, the chosen ones, if you must say. But the whole point is, I think this is the deck that is the old school type of deck with all their effects of magnified. It can heal. It can keep good deck states. It can gather a lot of stock. It can deal a lot of damage. It has clock plussing. It has ways of getting its climax. Right? Like, if you look, it is incredibly hard to whiff a climax. Like, you may sit there and say, oh, well, if you don't get the climax, you just lose the game. Sure, and you can just not draw zeros and not do anything and lose the game too. Like, that's not a real argument. Like, are you gonna say a slime player is never gonna get Muron on the field if it's in their deck? Highly unlikely. Same thing I would say for this. Highly unlikely not to get a climax. You can hard draw it. You can get it from this brainstorm. This brainstorm is check top 3. You can right out grab it from waiting room at a high cost. You can swap because your second climax is a treasure, so it goes to your hand. There's just so many ways, and it's just not a good argument to say that this deck isn't good because it can't draw a climax. So let's talk about some cons of the deck. I think player skill is a con. You need to be a very highly skilled player. You need to understand the game states so that you know the right play, because this deck has a lot of options. Yeah. I think that is it. I think that's literally the only con. Like, I mean, I guess you can say, like, one of the other cons is, like, okay, your finisher isn't that great. So, sure, we can say that. The finisher isn't that great, but it's still enough damage. It's pockets of damage as your opponent, right? A bunch of 3s. You have a bunch of 1s, right? I would say that if you don't keep your clock at level 1, the deck becomes a little bit harder to play because you might end up eating damage. But you have ways to mill in your deck, right? Like, this mills a lot. This is your regular Brainstormer. This combo checks top 4 if it goes off. You know, some tips would be like to just watch your deck state, right? Like, if you have a bunch of climaxes, you can play this. Just grab the first card you want to get and just bounce it to your hand and call it a day. There's just a lot of different plays, and you know, I can talk more about this deck in another video. Just want to tell you guys what I plan to play at Worlds. I think it's going to be, you know, a good day. There's something to be said about decks that just work no matter how skilled the opponent is, and only get better when the pilot's skilled. So I know I was going about, you know, I was going around in circles a little bit. First time off the script. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm the Ancestor Weiss. And, well, whoever it is, I'll catch you guys currently in the round 1 for Worlds. And I guess if I'm on TV, I'm on TV, right? Peace.